Next up, the Ryder Cup of the roads.
Have you ever driven through Europe?
I have.
What did you think of the roundabouts?
I like them.
Well, there's a myth that a roundabout is a far more effective way to move cars through an intersection than the four-way stop signs we have here in the United States.
The cars get through quicker.
Apparently.
Let's test it.
Totally.
Europeans love their roundabouts, but Adam and Jamie want to know, are they a triumph of efficiency or, compared to the good old American four-way, a catastrophic circus of congestion?
So we're going to set them both up, run them through the paces, and see which one comes out on top.
It's as simple as that. They'll mark out a four-way intersection with traffic barriers. And then compare the efficiency
I believe I've reached my peak laziness.
of traffic flow between the two systems in question.
For a little added realism, we've decided to give each of the four streets in our intersection a real name. There's Plausible Parkway, Jado Drive, Boom Boom Boulevard.
And then there's my personal favorite, C4 Avenue. Oh, we've got our course set up, and except for all the barriers and cones, as you can see, it's a pretty normal four-way stop.
So how's this going to work? Well, our drivers are going to be driving up to one of these four stop signs. And so, of course, they're going to be lawfully stopping. At each of our stop signs, we're going to have an operator operating one of these flip cards, which will direct our drivers either right, left, or straight ahead. No U-turns. And every time somebody drives through the intersection, I'll be counting it with this handy little clicker. And after a measured period of time, we'll see how many cars are able to make it through our four-way stop safely.
While Jamie is the self-nominated crossroad overlord, Adam has secured a cameo as a driving volunteer.
Brilliant. I'm thinking I'll get in my car and we should run them through a sample run of the actual course.
Sure.
With Jamie at his observation post, Adam and his fellow driving draftees are given plenty of time to familiarize themselves with the setup.
Here we go, making my first left on the experimental traffic crosswalk.
And after several circuits, it's clear the system is working.
This intersection feels completely genuine to me.
So, let the competition commence.
Our first test is going to run for 15 minutes. I'm going to hit the siren and start counting.
We are starting the first test.
And now, it's a numbers game.
Going to have to focus on this.
Jamie and his trusty clicker count each car that makes it through the intersection.
Okay, we're up to 123.
And so far, with little or no waiting time, it seems like the American way is as good as it gets.
Four-way stop seems like it works pretty well, actually, from where I'm standing. You know, it's efficient,
Seems like I'm seeing the same people over and over.
and they don't spend a whole lot of time in the intersection.
Have to be approaching the end of this test. I feel like I've been driving forever. Oh, that's it.
Time's up, and time for the result.
378 intersection crossings, 15 minutes.
That couldn't have gone better. That felt exactly like I was in real traffic, even down to little hitches at the intersection.
I'm gonna go. There we go. I'm not sure it was my turn, but I think he gave me deference because, well, I'm the host.
I think this is an excellent metric, but just to make sure, we're going to run this test one more time and average the results.
Yep, and second time around, it runs just as smoothly.
Oh, I'm making a right-hand turn now.
But the repetition is clearly getting to Adam.
You know, Jamie used to be a doorman at Studio 54 in New York. Sure. No, he totally did. He once kept Cher from getting into Studio 54. He was like, not you, Cher.
Delirious rambling aside, the result is in.
391.
What we need now is a summary. Adam?
We had an average of 385 drivers cross through this intersection in just 15 minutes. That's more than one car every 2.5 seconds. It's a pretty high level of throughput for this intersection. But before we proceed all the way to resetting everything for a roundabout, it occurs to me that there is one more way that a four-way intersection can work. Without stop signs.
And with a cop.
Where's my badge? And a gun. I want a gun. Where's my gun?
Yep, before they check out the roundabout,
Here we go, commencing traffic cop test.
Adam wants to know if a former member of the Village People can move traffic faster than self-governed stop signs.
There are a number of different ways we make it through intersections. There are stop signs, there are roundabouts, but then there are also traffic lights.
This is my favorite test of this episode so far.
And so we want to know if the decision-making that the traffic cop is doing is more efficient and quicker at getting people through an intersection than the decision-making that all those individual drivers can do by themselves.
But the answer is a resounding no.
What'd I get?
289. About 30% slower.
Yep, the good old four-way stop sign, governed by the people, for the people, is clearly more efficient. Question is, how will it fare against the roundabouts? Adam and Jamie are asking an intersection question
You sneaked me. It was my turn. You should have waited for me.
that could cut congestion.
Well, there you have it, the good old-fashioned four-way stop. We ran 2 tests. We got almost identical numbers of cars to go through it, and it worked. It does the job. There's no drama. Now, however, we want to see if there's any substance to the myth that the roundabout is actually a more efficient way of getting cars through an intersection.
This was our previous test. This is our current test, the roundabout. You might know it from Europe.
With the circular setup, the volunteers are wheeled in, and Adam, wearing a silly hat on a Segway, takes the time to read your mind.
Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, Mythbusters. Your volunteers, your test subjects are Americans, and Americans don't regularly experience and drive on roundabouts. Well, you're right, but we've also already thought of that. Commencing practice session now. Before we commence with our experiment, we're going to give our test subjects a good half hour to get used to the roundabout and circulate on our course.
Well, I think they're doing great.
We don't want their lack of experience to skew our results, so we're going to give them that experience right here, right now.
With the drivers up to speed and a spin, here's how the actual test is going to work.
Because of the way the roundabout is configured, it's harder for one person to keep track of how many people are passing through it.
So for this test, we will have 4 people counting off, placed strategically at each of the exits, clicking off one number every time a car leaves the roundabout.
After 15 minutes, we'll collect all the counts, add them up, and that'll give us our total number.
Just like last time, I'm going to be one of our volunteers driving this here production vehicle. Oh, cool. The hat fits while I drive.
And just like last time, I'll be up in the lift monitoring everything that's going on and running the timer.
Yeah, it's time.
It's time for a prediction, kids. Editors, could you give me a prediction logo right over my face? Excellent. I predict, based on our practice session, that the roundabout is going to beat the 4-way stop intersection.
Well, there's only one way to find out. A slightly overexcited Adam
Let's drive! Woo! Testing traffic!
leads his car driving cohorts around the roundabout for the 2 15-minute sessions.
Yeah, baby.
The human-powered randomizers randomly direct the drivers through the intersection.
Every time I approach, it's like an adventure. Yeah, here we go, another right-hand turn.
And while the counters count,
I love the roundabout.
Jamie observes from above.
See, at any given time, there's like 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 cars in the intersection. Whether that adds up to a final count that's higher, I don't know yet.
It's an observation that could hold the key to the final tally.
I think that this test is moving quite efficiently.
By allowing more than one car through the intersection at a time,
It is like a ballet.
the overlap could result in a considerably higher count. Adam certainly seems to think so.
From a driving perspective, this is dreamy.
To find out if he's right, the siren sounds. And it's time to crunch the crucial numbers.
Yes, the results are finally in. At the 4-way stop, over a period of time of exactly 15 minutes, we counted an average number of 385 cars.
And the roundabout, on the other hand, allowed a whopping 460 cars to pass through it. That's an improvement of almost 20%.
I'm calling it. I'm saying the roundabout wins and that this myth is confirmed. The roundabout is a more efficient way to move cars through an intersection.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Totally.
Confirmed.
Time to adopt it, America.